So what if you could completely reinvent how you make a living? Do something you actually love and build a whole new future for yourself, all starting with less than $100? Well, that's the powerful idea behind Chris Guillebeau's The 100 Startup. So let's dive in and pull out the key lessons you can actually use to start your own journey.
Now, I know what you're thinking. That quote sounds a little weird, right? But it totally captures this huge shift in how we think about work. See, it's not about a fancy job title anymore. It's about freedom, it's about fulfillment, and it's about designing a life that's actually on your terms. And that comes from a guy who found his true calling only after the corporate world showed him the door. Okay, so let's talk about Michael Hanna. For years, he was a sales professional doing the corporate thing. Then, bam, the economy takes a downturn and he loses his job. But what felt like a total disaster at the time? Well, it turned out to be the first step on a wild new adventure. He started flipping closeout mattresses on Craigslist. And you know what? A real business started to take shape, totally by accident.
And here's the thing. Michael's story isn't some one-off fluke. He's part of this massive trend, the micro-business movement. People everywhere are figuring out they don't need a huge bank loan or a shiny downtown office to build something that matters. They're literally turning their hobbies and passions into real profit and creating their own version of financial freedom.
All right, so that brings up the big question. How do you find your big idea? Well, the book argues you don't need to invent the next smartphone. In fact, your most profitable, most fulfilling idea is probably something you already know, something you already love to do. It's hiding right there, in plain sight.
And the formula the book gives us? It's almost shockingly simple. You take something you're passionate about, or just really good at, and you combine it with something that other people find useful. That's it. When you find that sweet spot where what you love overlaps with what people need, you've found your business.
Seriously, think about it. Maybe you're the person everyone raves about because you bake this incredible sourdough bread. You've always just thought of it as a hobby, but then you look around and realize, hey, there are no good local bakeries in my neighborhood. See? Your passion for baking, plus a clear need in the community, that's the spark. You already have the skills you need. And actually getting started is way simpler than you've been led to believe. Forget about those dusty 50-page business plans. The book boils it all down to these 5 basic steps. 1. Figure out what you're selling. 2. Get a simple website up. 3. Create a really clear offer. 4. Set up a way to get paid. And 5. Tell people about it. That's really the core of it. Now, having a great idea is one thing, but it's not enough. You have to package it in a way that makes people absolutely light up and say, wow, I need that right now. This whole section is about crafting an offer so good, so packed with value, that it becomes a complete no-brainer for your customers to say yes. Let's look at this number, $99.95. This was the price of a coupon book called The Alaskan Tour Saver. And at first glance, you might think, $100 for some coupons? No way. But the genius was hidden in the value it provided. The value proposition was just brilliant. The deal was simple. You buy this book, and if you use just one of the coupons inside, say for a helicopter tour or a 2-for-1 hotel stay, you'd immediately save more than the $99 you paid for the book. The return on your investment wasn't some vague promise, it was instant and crystal clear. And this is a really crucial point. You have to dig deeper than what people say they want. A customer might tell you they just want a cheap plane ticket, but what do they actually want? They want the feeling of being a smart travel hacker. They want the thrill of beating the system and getting an amazing experience for a fraction of the price. Your offer has to speak to that deeper, emotional desire. So, to build your own killer offer, you just need to focus on these essentials. First, make sure you're connecting your offer to a real, tangible benefit. Then, think about why someone might hesitate and tackle that objection head-on. Give them a reason to act now, not later. And finally, make them feel great about their purchase after they've bought it. That builds incredible trust. Okay, so you've got an idea. You've got an offer. Now what? Well, the single biggest trap you can fall into is what they call analysis paralysis. Planning and planning and planning forever without ever actually doing anything. The real goal is to just get moving. This quote from the management guru Peter Drucker just hits the nail on the head. A business plan sitting in a folder is worthless until it meets the real world. The most successful people in the book didn't wait for everything to be perfect. They launched with good enough and then made it better along the way. So if you remember one thing from this whole explainer, let it be this. In the battle between planning and action, action wins every single time.
Launching your thing, getting feedback from real paying customers, and then tweaking based on what they tell you, that's 1,000 times more valuable than another month spent perfecting a spreadsheet no one's ever going to see. And once you're actually out there and running, growing your business doesn't have to be some big, complex mystery. It really just comes down to pulling one or more of these 4 simple levers. You can get more people to see your stuff, you can get better at convincing them to buy, you can increase how much each customer spends, or you can sell more things to the happy customers you already have. That's pretty much the whole roadmap.
But when you boil it all down, this isn't really just about building a business. It's about building a life. The point of a micro business isn't to take over the world. It's to create a tool, a vehicle for your own personal freedom and fulfillment.
And that leads to maybe the most important question you can ask yourself. What kind of freedom do you want? Is it freedom of time, so you can spend more of it with your family? Is it freedom of location, so you can work from a beach in Thailand? Or is it financial freedom, so you can pursue your passions without worrying about paying the bills? Your business should be designed from the ground up to give you that. This line from one of the entrepreneurs in the book is so profound. It's way too easy to accidentally create a business that becomes your own personal prison, demanding every second of your time and all of your energy. The goal is to build something that serves you, not the other way around. You have to be the one in charge. And we'll leave you with these famous words from Steve Jobs. Just following the conventional path because it's what everyone else expects, well, that's just a recipe for regret. Building your own small business on your own terms is one of the most direct ways you can take the wheel and start living a life that is 100% yours. Look, the path to a new future, one that's built on your own skills and passions, is more possible right now than it has ever been. It doesn't take a ton of money. It just takes a bias toward action and a clear idea of the life you want to create. So really, the only question left is, what's the first step you're going to take?